third grade and Mrs. Luke's. Sorry, I was just drawing some crewmates from the game Among Us. It's a very popular game in today's culture. I can't wait to hear what Greg Segal has to say about culture and art. I'm so excited.
Today, we are going to be talking about the artist Greg Segal. Greg Segal is an awesome artist that talks a lot about culture. And he has two really famous projects going on. One is called The 7 Days of Garbage, and one that is called Daily Bread. I know those are very strange topics to think about when it comes to art, but when we look at his artwork, you're going to see that his projects are based on culture. And when you look at these, you might think of culture as, someone's ethnicity. You might think of culture as someone's national background. But when we think of culture, we're going to start really diving in and coming up with different definitions of what culture might mean. Miss Beck and I came up with a lesson that we loosely based on something that are called the rings of culture. Rings of cultures, again, goes in and talks about like your age, your ethnic culture, your national culture, your gender culture, but we kind of put a little different spin on it. We kind of came up with what we are going to call the hexagons of culture. We're going to still talk about our age culture. We're going to talk about our national culture, our family culture, some pop culture, extracurricular culture, and we're going to throw in a little bit of some bonus culture in there. We're going to talk a little bit more about that after we watch this video on who Greg Segal is. It's a great Kickstarter video that talks about his 7 Days of Garbage and how he came up with it and what his daily bread was. So let's come back to the hexagons of culture after this video.
As a photographer and someone who cares about the future of our planet, I'm interested in all aspects of consumption. Both what we consume and what we throw away tell a story about our health and the health of the planet. In 2014, I struck on an idea that makes consumption, excess, and waste impossible to ignore. I asked family, friends, neighbors, friends of neighbors to save their garbage for 1 week, then lay down and be photographed in it. And by extension, those who look at these pictures may stop and think about how much garbage they produce every week, and a conversation is started. I wanted my 8-year-old son to be aware that we're part of the problem too. Many of the people I photographed are making small changes in their consumption habits.
The produce was in containers that we would have liked to not see in our garbage heap. So we started shopping a little bit more at local farmers markets in order to cut down on all that waste that was happening with the produce.
I'm using toilet paper rolls, empty cereal boxes, and egg cartons for my kids' crafting projects. Our goal is to get to zero waste.
Through Slate and Board Panda, I've reached over 1 million people. Last fall, I took the project to Toronto. The story was picked up by The Independent, Le Monde, Stern, Vanity Fair Italy, Newsweek Japan. In the process of photographing people's garbage, I began to look more deeply at food, what we're eating and what we're throwing away. There's a lot of talk about what we should and shouldn't be eating, and a growing awareness about the harm of eating processed foods that are loaded with salt, fat, sugar, and empty carbs. But how much, if at all, are our diets changing? To address this, I've launched a follow-up project called Daily Bread. I've asked kids and parents to keep a detailed journal of everything they eat in a week. Once the week is up, I replicate the meals with a small army of food stylists and make a portrait of the child with the food laid out on a table. The process and the resulting pictures focuses our collective attention on an essential part of our lives and health. Through Daily Bread, I've connected with Dr. Maya Adam, a Stanford professor whose online course, Child Nutrition and Cooking, has drawn 250,000 students from around the world who are sharing recipes, contributing to an international community cookbook. I've reached out to some of these families and arranged to photograph them. My goal is to record the spectrum of diets eaten here in the U.S. and in other parts of the world. How does the diet of a child who lives in the foothills of the Himalayas differ from that of a child living in a Wisconsin suburb? The funds I raise will make it possible for me to continue shooting both 7 Days of Garbage and Daily Bread overseas. The next step is to produce a book and traveling exhibition that is equal parts public health initiative, social commentary, and instant archaeological record. But the work doesn't end with a book and a couple of exhibits. The deeper goal is to be a catalyst for change. The big picture is the growing grassroots community I'm a part of. It's about connecting, sharing information, learning from one another, and taking responsibility. Together, we'll stir the pot using ingredients that don't end up in a landfill. Together, we can move the needle on diet, consumption, and waste.
Next week, we're going to talk a little bit more about Greg Segal. We're going to talk a little bit more about his photos, a little bit more about his art. For this week, though, we're going to focus in on those hexagons of culture that I was mentioning earlier. Check out this cool graphic that Miss Beck made for us.
Come along with me to fill out the hexagons of culture.
It focuses in on the age, family traditions, extracurricular, pop culture, national culture, and again, like I said earlier, a bonus culture of your choice. So what is your age culture? What is your family culture? And what are those other things? When you think of age, what do you use on a daily basis as someone who is your age? When you think about your family traditions, what makes your family unique? What languages do you speak? What foods do you eat? When you think about your extracurricular activities, what are you involved in? Are you involved in clubs? Are you involved in sports? When you think about pop culture, what is popular today among friends? What do you guys play? What board games do you have? What toys do you have? What TV shows do you watch? When you think about your national culture, what things do you do because of the country that you're from? What celebrations do you have? What art do you have in your homes? And again, what foods do you eat? And as a bonus, pick whatever you think about that's around your house. Think about whatever things that you have that belong to you, that are specific to you. Now, here's the fun part when it comes to this. We're about to have a scavenger hunt, okay? So what I want you to do is I want you to go around your house and I want you to find some things that go along with these hexagons of culture. I want you to look for things that are appropriate for your age, okay? What school supplies do you have? What accessories do you wear? What things do you collect that are appropriate to your age? I want you to find them. I want you to take a picture of them. What family traditions do you have? Find those things. Take a picture of them. If you're not home though, what we have for you is we have a checklist. We have made a separate document in your Seesaw that we want you to fill out, okay, and write those things down. So that way when you are home, you can go in and you can find those things later, take those photos and add them to Seesaw. Because here's the thing, after our scavenger hunt, next week when you come back, we're going to share these things. We're going to talk about these things that you found on your scavenger hunt, and we're going to be creating some artwork similar to Greg Segal's that are going to show your specific culture. You're going to take those items, you're going to arrange them around you, things from your culture that depict who you are as a person, who your culture is, based on your age, based on your pop culture, based on your family traditions, based on your extracurricular activities, your national origin, and things that are just extra, some bonus things that maybe are specific to you that, again, we did not discuss.
Hi, third grade, Miss Beck here. So this is how you fill out the hexagons of culture. On page 1, page 1 and 2 are the same thing. Page 2, however, if you by chance don't have access to whatever you need to take pictures of, let's say, for example, you may be away from home or you may not have something available, you can type a little box that tells us what you would take a photograph of. And you can always come back later. But just in case, it's there. Page 1, though. If you are home and you have access to materials, you are taking some pictures. So what you're going to do is you're going to look. There is a bunch of different sections to fill out. There is age, pop culture, national, extracurricular, family traditions, and a bonus. This can be anything you want. Each one has a title as well as a question and some ideas. So let's start. I think I'm actually going to start with the pop culture one today. So pop culture. What is popular today amongst people your age? So think books, games, TV shows, toys, clothing. And I actually have the perfect example right here, friends. Oh, it's Tark the Tauntaun. So I would actually recommend grabbing your item and putting it in a space where it's the only thing in the picture. Like you can see my keys over there. That way it's nice and clear. We know exactly what you're taking a picture of. Once you have it ready, boop, make it nice and small. You can put it right on top of that hexagon. Awesome! I'm going to take my picture. You go camera, photo. I've got my tiny hands and my lanyard. I haven't used my tiny hands in a while, but it's definitely a material that someone my age would use. So check it out once you, again, take your time, make sure it's nice and clear. Snap that pic and put it on top of the box. Okay, let's read out these other ones. We got national things you do because of the country you're from, such as celebrations, art and food. Extracurricular, what are you involved in? Clubs, sports, hobbies, family traditions. What makes your family unique? What language do you speak? What food do you eat? What stories do you tell? And what types of art do you have around your house? And then your age. What do you use on a daily basis as someone of your age? Think school supplies, accessories you wear, things you collect.